I got the drink, I got the smoke in rotation. Head on a swivel rotation. I got the back door swinging rotation. If it's boiled, double back in rotation.
Hey, welcome back, folks. It's your host, Young Sterlz, Sterling Mitchell. You can click on that Head on a Swivel podcast. I hope you're ready for some interesting football talk today.
Interesting football talk. What's up, baby? It's your boy Stan. Stan the man. Stan with the plan. Stan with the can in my hand. Yeah, it's me. Let's get it going. Let's talk about some football.
All right, I guess we just got to talk about the most surprising thing that happened on Sunday. That'd be Dallas whooping Jacksonville ass.
They whooped that ass, bro. I really just don't understand where Jacksonville is right now. Because their defense is always going to... we thought their defense was always going to show up. And I thought that they would always be good if they were in a low-scoring game. But this just was not the case. Their defense wasn't there, and their offense sure as hell wasn't.
I think they got exposed by Kansas City 2 weeks ago. And the offensive genius of Andy Reid, he really showed the league some things you can do against them and how you can attack them. And I feel like the Cowboys using Dak Prescott as more of a runner in that game because he had like 84 yards rushing. And they were really able to highlight the weak points of the Jacksonville defense and exploit them.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess, the Cowboys have skill players, right? When Dak Prescott plays to the best of his ability, when he's whipping the ball around and when he's using his legs, and then you got Zeke Elliott crushing it down the middle, they have ways to exploit defenses. So I can see how that would happen, right? And then, yeah, I do agree with you about the whole getting exploited by Kansas City.
And then also Blake Bortles is trash.
He is trash.
And they don't really have the best receiving weapons, in my opinion.
Who, Dallas or?
No, Jacksonville. That offense.
They have some athletes, Keelan Cole and who?
They have nice pieces. It's hard when you don't have a super dominant guy, and then also the quarterback struggles just to make plays in general.
I get that. And, how's TJ Yeldon playing? Because I know...
Oh, he was playing fine. It's just they got down so fast it didn't matter. Because Jacksonville was built to control the ball and try to just run the ball most of the time. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why they got Leonard Fournette, but he's hurt, unfortunately. And then they just rely on that defense. It's like, we just going to have the ball most of the time, try to at least, just pound the rock. And then we know on defense, you guys just got to get stopped and then give us the ball back so we just can keep you on the bench and just do our thing.
Right. These are two of the most confusing teams to me, but I think that Dallas can actually be pretty dangerous. When you watch them and you watch Dak with confidence, they're a scary offense.
I also would say that Dallas' defense is no joke either.
And that's the thing.
That's the thing that people are sleeping on. Dallas actually has a pretty good defense.
Right.
It's just their offense was worse than the league for like the last few weeks, and then they decided to turn it on this Sunday against the Jaguars by trying some new things.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be two very interesting teams to watch down the road, but the Jaguars got to get it together, that's for sure.
I think the Jaguars will actually end up winning their division, but I don't see the Cowboys doing that. But I'm also rooting for the Eagles. So, the Eagles are the only team that I think in their division that can beat them, but
I'll say, yeah, it's between Cowboys or the Eagles right now because...
Redskins got the lead in the division technically, so, I guess we can't sleep on them. Me either, but they got checked down Alex Smith. So, he's not going to take them out of the game, but he's not going to blow out teams or anything like that. So, every team's always in it, so it's always a toss-up when you playing the Redskins.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we'll see. We'll see this week when they play.
Also, so I just gotta ask you how you feel about the Raiders, the 1-5 Raiders at this point.
They're trash, bro. They're trash, and it's all It didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. I don't know what John Gruden was thinking. We've said this every week, and it's just they're just going to keep continuing to lose because, I mean, the offense is fine. They have Derek Carr, and they have the weapons that they need. I mean, minus Amari Cooper getting hurt this week. But, I mean, the offense would have been fine. I just don't understand the move. I don't understand why they moved Khalil Mack. That man is an absolute monster. And now they're paying the price, man. They're paying the price.
Yeah, Jay Gruden keeps complaining about how he can't get a pass rush, and he gave away arguably the best pass rusher in the league because he didn't want to pay the man, I guess. I don't really understand the decision.
That is so crazy to me. He said he's mad he can't get a pass rush.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me sick.
I'm actually very happy. Hopefully this humbles that man, Jay Gruden, because I don't know what he was thinking. John Gruden. Oh, yeah, not Jay. Jay's actually doing well. But, I hope it humbles him in not thinking he's the man and he just knows everything about football. And I don't know, I don't know why they paid that man $100 million as a coach. That's ridiculous to me.
I mean, if that's the reason why they got rid of Khalil Mack, yeah, I mean, is that the reason that they got rid of Khalil Mack? Because they're paying John Gruden $100,000?
It's just they didn't want to pay him what he would be worth.
Yeah, I really have nothing else to say about them. I mean, they got beat. I mean, I don't see any reason for them to come back this year. I mean, if John Gruden's purpose of trading Khalil Mack was to start from the beginning and rebuild, then they might as well just lose the rest of these games, get a first-round pick, and continue to rebuild, right? So,
it is crazy to see Seattle whoop their ass 27-3, though, when Seattle's been struggling themselves.
Right, and their defense is weaker now, right? They lost Earl Thomas.
Yeah, there's nobody from the Legion of Boom is still there.
Right.
Or playing at this time since Earl Thomas is hurt.
Isn't Cam Chancellor like
he retired?
I know. Didn't he have a neck issue though? Wasn't he paralyzed?
I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, it was due to injuries.
Sheesh. Well, yeah, these were two unimpressive teams, and Oakland looked awful. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
So I guess we can get on these exciting games of the week. First, we can talk about this Chicago-Miami game, which came down to the wire.
I know how Kenyon Drake felt. I know it in my heart. I know it in my soul. I've fumbled on the goal line before, and that walk back to the sideline is so awful, so slow, so miserable, especially when it's probably different in the NFL. You're making money. Okay, who cares? But I don't know. He was crying, and I know how it feels, man. I feel bad for him, but I'm so glad that they won just for him, just because I know how it feels. Yeah, exciting game. It's the Dolphins are they legit? I don't.
That's exactly my next question for you. I think we gotta call both of these teams the real deal now. I'm not saying they're some of the elite teams, but I'm saying they're above average.
The Dolphins
and the Bears.
Yeah. So I think the Bears and the Dolphins are definitely both above average, especially what the Dolphins did with Brock Osweiler, not their starting quarterback. They have. Who are their weapons on offense? Who are their main weapons?
They got Kenny Stills.
Right.
Albert Wilson. Right. Albert Wilson's been their main receiver this year. He had a good game. Kenyon Drake, of course.
Right.
They got Devontae Parker, Daniel Amendola, but Daniel Amendola hasn't really been doing anything this year. Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills on the outside, and Albert Wilson. Those are some good weapons. Even though I'm not even sure if Devontae Parker might be hurt.
I was gonna say all these guys are just low key mid-tier guys, but they're getting it done.
Yeah.
To me, they're all mid-tier guys.
Yeah, Devontae Parker's been hurt, but I know he's a very good weapon.
Well, on the Bears side, Mitch Trubisky has he proved to you that he's a quarterback?
I don't want to admit it, but he's nice.
He's putting up numbers, and the kid can move, and he just whips the ball.
He threw 6 touchdowns in one game, so I got to give it up to him now.
And he had a 363-yard day against the Dolphins.
He's not as trash as I thought, I guess.
He's not trash.
He's living up to his potential because I didn't see it being a junior and getting beat out when he was in college to going and being like, was he the number 1 pick? Or I know he was a top 10 pick. I think he was the first quarterback taken in his draft, which was so surprising to me. I didn't get it, but now I guess I see what everybody else is seeing. And I guess the man just didn't care that much in college or something.
He was picked 2.
Yeah, being the number 2 pick. Yeah, I guess I got to give it up to him. I'll give him his respect now.
Got to give him his props, man. I mean,
he's nice.
And they have weapons. They have these. Tariq Cohen is, like, they called him, when I remember when he was coming into the league, they called him the human joystick. And I used to watch his highlights, and that man is so fast and can just move like it's nothing. And him along with Jordan Howard and who's their wide receiver?
They got Taylor Gabriel.
They got Taylor Gabriel from the Falcons, which I don't know why we gave him up. He's a great wide receiver. Yeah, they have weapons.
The crazy thing is their best weapons are hurt. Like
for the Dolphins, for the Bears.
Yes, for the Bears. They got Kevin White. He's been hurt all year.
He's been hurt his whole career. When did he? He got drafted so long ago.
Yeah, it's just like 2 years ago.
I swear, I don't know why I always think that he's so old.
Nah, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was just 2 years ago. And then they got Trey Burton.
Yep.
They got Zach Miller. That's the dude I was talking about. That one of their best tight ends. Mm-hmm. He's the dude who like damn near died last year. Well, he didn't die, but they almost had to amputate his leg.
Oh, my God.
Because, like, he dislocated his knee and, like...
It got infected or something?
No, it hit, like, an artery or vein, something like that, where, like, he was losing a lot of blood fast.
Oh, my God.
So, like, yeah, he's not even back yet. They got Allen Robertson.
Yeah, athlete.
Pretty nice.
Yep. Yeah, no, I definitely think the Bears are just they're in a good position. They're in a good position to really, I don't know when those guys are getting back, but I think, as the season goes on, they're only going to get better, in my opinion, especially as Mitch Trubisky grows and becomes an even better quarterback. And I'm on the Mitch Trubisky bandwagon right now. He's looking like an athlete. I used to talk a lot of shit about him.
Same here.
I'm on it. I'm on the bandwagon.
I gotta give it up to the man. And the defense is looking very strong.
Yep.
A lot of young, athletic pieces that are very nice.
But isn't this the funny thing, though? The Dolphins won the game, but we're talking about how much potential and how good the Bears are. Like, there's just something about the Dolphins that doesn't impress me. There's not one thing. Like, there's no players on that team that I'm like, they got a player. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Kenyon Drake,
they just know how to win, I guess. They're 4-2. They just been
until it comes to the Patriots
roughing out these games. So, we'll have to see the second matchup in a year.
Yeah,
I gotta give it up to them. And then, speaking about the Patriots,
let's talk about the game of the week.
The best game of the week.
Best game of the week.
The Sunday night game. New England Patriots versus Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, that was a great game, man. You just can't take the Patriots out of it, right? They start off 1-2 or something like that. But you can't count the Patriots out no matter what week it is, no matter what team you're playing, and it was a shootout as I anticipated, and Tom Brady just came out on top. That's just kind of how things have tended to go for the past couple years, you know?
I think it just came down to whoever had the ball last, and that just ended up having to be the Patriots because Patrick Mahomes is just too good right now for his own good. He scored too fast. Him and Tyreek Hill, they scored too fast and gave Tom Brady the ball back with like 3 minutes left. So and all he needed was a field goal to win. So he able to work his way down the field methodically as Tom Brady does and use up all that clock. But I think if this isn't at Gillette Stadium, the Kansas City Chiefs win.
Yeah, and I mean I can definitely agree with that. I mean, look, man. It's gonna be. I mean, that's probably a AFC title game right there. I mean, that's probably what the game will end up being.
I think whoever's at home is gonna win it too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably how it's going to be. I don't see anybody stopping Kansas City's offense. The amount of weapons they have is absolutely out of this world. Tyreek Hill, Pat Mahomes playing like Pat Mahomes, Chris Conley, highest vertical in the entire scouting combine history. Freaking who else do they have? Their running back Kareem Hunt, absolute animal.
Did you even say Travis Kelce?
Didn't say Travis Kelce.
They got Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins. It's insane.
It's nice.
It's insane the amount of athletes they have on the field.
And they got DeAnthony Thomas who comes off the bench.
DeAnthony Thomas coming off the bench. I remember talking about him when he was in college. Like he was like what? Considered like the fastest person in college football at a point.
He was dirty. I used to watch his highlights all the time.
Right. So it's like the amount. I don't know how they got all these athletes at one time. It's kind of crazy, but like, yeah, I don't see anybody stopping them. And
it's actually crazy because their offense. You usually say defense wins championships, but their offense is so good that it just overrides that point. Like they don't really need that much defense to win games. All they need is a few stops. I mean, that's the thing. They got stops in the second half, actually. Yeah, the first half, because they was actually down by like 12 going into halftime, something like that. I'm not sure exactly. And I think the lead got increased, and they had to come back. Right. Patty Mahomes made the comeback, and it ended up taking the lead for a little bit. And then Tom Brady did his thing. But, yeah, I'm very excited to watch this thing unfold. I think Patrick Mahomes is the real deal. He's arrived in the NFL, and he's here for a long time. He's going to be one of the next biggest stars for the next 10 to 15 years, however long he's able to extend his career.
But, yeah, and one more side note. Their defense is 32nd in the league. So they're butt last. So, like, this will be interesting to see if offense can really be – if you can really make it to the Super Bowl without – any type of defense. I mean, I'm assuming they'll get a little better. I mean, I don't know
if what's his name? I think if Eric Berry comes back,
yeah,
and Houston was hurt last game. Their best pass rusher and their best secondary player was hurt.
Okay,
I think those two players make a big difference.
Well. Yeah.
Especially because Eric Berry was locking up Gronk all by himself in the very first game of last season. That's why Kansas City blew them out last year. And Gronk was one of the main factors in this game in the Patriots getting the dub in the second half. He was just wide open at times.
Well, yeah. No, that makes sense. And I mean, if their defense is 2 or 3 steps above 32nd in the league, I think that'll be enough to get them at least to the AFC Championship, if not to the Super Bowl. So, I mean...
Is there any other games you'd like to talk about from the past week?
Well, of course, we got to talk about my Falcons. Before we keep going, my Falcons got a dub. I'm excited about it. I'm assuming the Buccaneers hype is all completely gone now because they got beat by us and we're not anything too impressive. But I think there is hope. I think we can take the Kansas City formula and we can if we just start outscoring people. I think that's what we got to do at this point because I didn't even know that we lost Deion Jones, we lost both of our safeties, and we lost an interior defensive lineman. So like literally a highway through the middle of our defense is just decimated. So I've given up on our defense. We can if all I care, we can roll the ball out there. The offense just go and score, and then we'll try and outscore them. I don't know. I think that's what we're gonna have to do from now on. But I'm hoping that we can do that and end up winning the division and catching up with the Saints.
Did you see the end of that game though?
I did. You talking about the little laterals at the end?
The Buccaneers could have easily won that game if Deshaun Jackson could have caught that ball.
We're not talking about that. We're not acknowledging that, okay? A win is a win.
That could have easily went the wrong way, especially on a play like that. That was crazy. Yeah. I was like, oh, they got no shot. When I saw Jameis Winston just decide to take off down the middle of the field. And then when I actually saw like the end of it, I was like, oh, shit, they could have actually scored.
I was looking at the highlights. I was actually kind of sweating. And I saw that they didn't. I was like, oh, cool.
But, yeah, I don't think y'all going to catch up to New Orleans. They're just Drew Brees is playing on their level right now with Michael Thomas. That combo is ridiculous. They got Mark Ingram just came back, scored 2 touchdowns first game. They still got Alvin Kamara.
People make me sick. Nobody was paying no fucking attention to Drew Brees until he broke that record. Drew Brees has been doing this for years. He's been putting up 5,000-yard seasons every year.
It's true.
They only just now want to give him his props. Fuck out of here, man. People be getting on my nerves. But anyway, Drew Brees. Yes, Drew Brees is playing Drew Brees is doing what he normally does. He's doing what he normally does. He's probably gonna put up a 5,000-yard season. Whoop de whoop. I think that we have more weapons than the Saints do. And I think.
But do you have more defense? That matters.
Just a minute ago, just a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how trash the Saints defense is. Have they come back? I don't know.
If Marcus Lattimore got it together, and I mean, it's not like they really lost anybody or people are hurt. It's just people weren't performing like they were the year before. So if they got that together, then it's a whole different story. If they start playing like they were, I mean, they're 4-1. So like we could talk about how trash they are all we want, but they still lost one game.
That's true. That is true. I just think. Let me see what. I guess yeah. I mean, they showed up. I guess when they were supposed to show up, they let the Giants score 18 points and they let the Redskins score 19 points. I mean. But yeah, they have not seen an offense like ours yet. We haven't played. Did we play the Saints?
Yes, you did play them.
We did play the Saints, didn't we?
And you played them at home.
And it was a shootout. So I mean, they beat us in a shootout, and this week we're gonna beat them. Or no, I mean, when we play next, we're gonna beat them in a shootout. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
The next game is away too. So they already beat you at home. That's not good,
Superdome, baby. That's our Superdome, baby.
Good luck. That's all I gotta say. I mean, I guess we could talk about this Pittsburgh and Cincinnati game, which was this was a shootout. Came down to the end. I really thought that Andy Dalton was finally going to get the dub against Ben Roethlisberger. In the last 5 games, Ben is 5-0, and I just feel so sad for Cincinnati fans because they just can't beat the Steelers. It's always a battle. There's a rivalry. It's tough, hard-nosed football. People getting smacked. People getting taken out the game, concussions and stuff, bad blood. But then the Steelers always win. So
that's gotta be awful to put all your blood, sweat, and tears into these games and.
And I really thought I was watching this game. I really thought Cincinnati was going to do it. All they needed to do was get the stop on defense. But of course, they couldn't do it.
Yeah, James Conner running wild as he has been doing. What do you think is going to happen when Le'Veon gets back? You can't take the man out of the game. You think?
Yeah, they're going to have to share time. Le'Veon's a much better pass catcher. He's a much better offensive weapon. Le'Veon's still better. It doesn't matter how good James Conner's been playing. Le'Veon is still better. And you're not going to have Le'Veon just stand there on the sideline, especially when you're going to be paying him like $700,000 each game. And and it's not like he doesn't actually want to play. He still wants to play.
Just not for them.
No, I mean, he said he's going to come back and give it his all. And, I mean, still in the passing game, he's another receiver. So
I think your fantasy football mind is talking.
No.
I think you want... Nah. But, I mean, Yeah, I get you. It always makes me so skeptical when, it makes me skeptical when I see James Conner playing this well. And I'm just like, does Le'Veon just have a good offensive line? Like, is that, like, has he always just had the way paved for him, you know? I mean, I know he is a great pass catcher. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is he really as good?
I think so.
Like,
I think if you really watch him,
put him behind the New York Giants line, does he do what Saquon does?
I think he has a better chance than James Conner. If you watch him, James Conner tries to run through people and Le'Veon makes people miss.
Okay.
Which is one of the things the reason that Le'Veon's not playing, because he doesn't want to take all the physical. He wants to reserve his body if you're not going to play him. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. If James Conner keeps doing this, I don't know how much longer he gonna last, because everything's gonna catch up to him. We already seeing this shit with Devontae Freeman. Well, I mean, that man can't stay in the game, and he's not even that old.
He runs his ass off.
Yeah, he runs his ass off. He tries to run straight through people just like this. Mm-hmm. And when he first came into the league, first few years, he been balling out. But then they always catch up to your body. Gonna tell you when to stop.
I mean, if I was James Conner, I'd be playing for a check right now.
You see, look at that. Like, he is taking hits after hits. He ran through them, but
I get it, but I just think he's playing for a check right now, honestly.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would be doing the same thing. He knows this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity, so he gotta make the most. I don't have anything against the man at all. Like, he go out there and ball. Like, but like, I'm just saying, when Le'Veon Bell comes back, it's gonna be split time. I'm not saying like Le'Veon's gonna even get more carries. This is gonna be a split, like, because if you got that many weapons, you gotta use them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, it would be a slap in his face. Again, first you don't pay him, then he comes back, and then you don't play him. You know what I mean? It's just too many slaps in the face. So, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, that play, that last play, he was definitely blocking that DB.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody there to really tackle him, I guess, in the first place. But, I mean, at the same time, it was still a penalty.
It sucks, but it's the NFL. And plays like that always happen. There's so many pick plays.
And they could have schemed the defense better. I mean, there was nobody in the middle of the field. So,
I feel like the defender should have shaded inside at least. It looked like he was still shading on the outside. It was just dumb, in my opinion.
Right.
Because he's just giving up the middle for free. Like, even if the inside receiver runs a slant, he's still going to be open. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand what they were doing on defense. I definitely feel he should have shifted over to take away that inside, especially if you know you doing an all-out blitz and there's going to be nobody in the middle. So I feel like that's more on that front defender of anything, even though it definitely was a pick play and dude was blocking him.
Right.
You can only say so much when the scheme was shitty in the first place.
Exactly. Right. So, I mean, I'd say if it were, I think, solely on the fact that he was blocking him, that they scored on that, then I would be more enraged. But, like, or I'm not enraged. I would just be mad. But, like, the fact that their whole defense was just not ready for that play, then I'm okay with it.
So next, my last point about this last week. Can we get off the Baker Mayfield train finally? Like, can we see why he needed to wait a year to really develop into the best version of himself?
Did he play bad, though?
He didn't play horribly, but he's not really going to win too many games. Let's be honest. Like, the defense is still the bright point of this team. Like, their best attribute is their defense. It's not Baker whipping it around to all these weapons they have, because they really only have Jarvis Landry and the tight end. And then they got 3 running backs that they use all the time. So it's not even like Baker is really doing that much when they do win.
Right.
Carlos Hyde has 5 touchdowns in the season, 382 yards, and he's 1 of 3 in rotation.
I mean, I feel like it's harsh to judge. I feel like it's harsh to judge Baker I mean, I guess in this game, to use this game as the judgment, I feel like is harsh. Just because, I mean, the Chargers are no slack team. The Chargers, I think, are going to be a playoff contender. I mean, when they have Phillip Rivers playing like he is, 11 of 20, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you got Melvin Gordon running the ball like he is, 132 yards on 18 carries. It's a 7.3 yard average and 3 touchdowns. Like,
Baker had 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I get that. But I mean, he was 22 of 46. They're making him throw the ball. They're making him whip it a bunch. I mean, who had the most? They had 14. Carlos Hyde had 14 carries for 34 yards. He had a 2.4 yard average. Shit, Nick Chubb was running the ball good though. He had 3 carries for 25 yards. But I mean, they're forcing him to throw the ball so much. So I mean,
I feel like that's because they got down so fast. Because I remember when I saw this game, it was like worse than this.
Right. So I mean, he's not in the greatest of positions, you know.
But I mean, when you turn the ball over, it's not helping.
That's true.
And who said he didn't help lead to that?
No, you're right. No,
I didn't watch the game, but I just know.
Yeah. I mean,
from these stats,
we put too much stock into the Browns. I mean, we were expecting them to make some huge turnaround because of. I mean, they're still extremely young. I mean, they have tons.
I mean, they're not. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying.
Hop off.
Baker is not their savior. Their defense is what you should be
excited for.
Yeah, their defense. You should be more excited about their defense at this point than anything. Like in the future, yes, Baker's gonna be nice, but you gotta give the man some time to grow. This is exactly why he wasn't starting at the beginning, and then you saw him come in that game and win. But it was against the Jets. Yeah. Like, we still got to remember who they were playing. Yes.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, yeah. I mean, this was a challenge. And, you know, he didn't show up. But, I mean, the Chargers are no slack. I think the Chargers are going to be a good team going down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, I agree. They're only 1 game behind the Chiefs in the division.
Mm-hmm. So, I think it should be interesting, man. It's shaking up to be a real, like, interesting season. Just there's so many, you know, what-ifs on certain teams. And, or, you know, there's a decent amount of, like, I don't see anybody. I mean, the Rams are sitting at undefeated, but, I mean, they're the only team that's undefeated right now. And everyone else falls into that 4-2, 3-3 range, you know.
And the Rams looking kind of shaky. They had a close game against Denver, which I don't think Denver's the best team, but their cornerback's been hurting and stuff. Yeah, they were at Denver. They had to go to Mile High.
See, that's always a tough battle. So like, I don't blame them for that, but yeah, but Todd Gurley though. Todd Gurley, the man's an animal, man. Especially for you fantasy owners, if you can trade for him, I doubt it, but I mean, hopefully you drafted him like me.
He's going to be getting a lot more work too, especially with Cooper Kupp hurt. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Brandon Cooks is back either. But yeah, that's another reason why like they could lose one of these games. But I mean, they still definitely
who doesn't lose?
One of the best team in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
As far as offense and defense,
without a doubt. I mean, they're sitting at first in the NFL in offense, first in the NFL in rushing, 4th in passing, and 14th in defense. I mean, if you got damn near top 10 defense and all, you know, first in the league in offense, you're gonna be up there. So I think this game against the 49ers is going to be interesting. We can talk about that later. I don't know how many more games you want to talk about.
Oh, no, I'm ready to go into highlighting a few games next week.
All right, what's your first one?
I guess I'll start off with the game I'm ready to see at 1 o'clock. of the Patriots versus the Bears. I'm actually very excited for this because I want to see Khalil Mack versus Tom Brady.
I want to see that. I want to see him sack him. I want to see him sack him hard.
And it's in Chicago.
Oh, it's in Chicago?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be nice and cold and windy. And, well, I guess the Patriots are kind of used to that. But I think Khalil Mack is going to get after Tom. And Mitch Trubisky is going to throw for 6 more touchdowns. And they're going to win. And I hope they do.
Yeah, actually, I see Chicago stealing this one. I think they can get the dub as long as the defense comes and shows out, and the offense really just has to do enough to win. Just put up some points. I don't think they got to do too much. Their defense is number 3 in the league, and I feel like if they could put up 24 points, they can get this dub.
Yeah, Tom Brady is 4-0 in his career versus the Bears. 329.5 pass yards per game against the Bears. Most against any opponent. But that's not going to be the case this week. Not with the way the Bears defense is. Well, I don't know. I don't know about last week. But in general, I think their defense is going to get after Tom, and then and the Patriots are going to let you score points, right? And I think with the Bears offense and the way it's set up right now, I think Mitch Trubisky can do a little something, but he's going to have a lot to prove to me, and I feel like if he can pull this one out, then he's definitely this is definitely a legit offense, and he's definitely a legit, up and coming quarterback.
Okay, yeah. So next, there's not too many exciting games this week, but next I'd say the Panthers versus Philadelphia. 2 fringe playoff teams, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. 2 teams that can easily make the playoffs if they just get it going. And I feel like both teams can get it going at the right time and just go on a streak. 2
teams with quarterbacks that are interesting. They have all the talent in the world. But obviously, Carson Wentz with his injury, he's still getting back into the swing of things. And Cam he's been playing, but he hasn't been playing at Cam level, I would say. I think he's been more of a, I don't know. Let me check his. They're 28th. They're 28th in the league in passing. And so I don't know if that's simply just because Cam doesn't have the weapons. I've seen Devin Funchess ball out on a couple catches last week. And I don't know if that him missing Greg Olsen. Did Greg Olsen come back?
Yeah, he came back.
He came back last week.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what their deal is, but Cam just hasn't been playing to his potential. But I know that when Cam is playing at his potential, that the Panthers are always somebody to be worried about.
Yeah, he has Christian McCaffrey, who's been having a great year receiving. The last 2 weeks he's been slowing down a little, but I think they was on a bye one of those weeks or something. But I think the weapons are there, especially with Greg Olsen coming back. They always have a nice defense. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup because Philadelphia, we don't know exactly where they are at last year. It seemed like the win last week of just trouncing the Giants might get them back on track to where they were last year, especially if Carson Wentz is healthier and is closer to 100%. I can definitely see this be a very good game and going down to the wire and being like whoever has the ball last, a last possession ball game.
Mm-hmm. And it should be a battle of strengths too. At the end of the day, where the Panthers have allowed the fewest quarterback hits this season. I don't know if that's due to strength of offensive line or the fact that Cam can get away, but probably a combination of both. And the Eagles have the most quarterback hits this season, so should be interesting to see.
Yeah, And I guess next, this is interesting to me. I say Houston versus Jacksonville. Because I don't know where either of these teams are. Because I thought they'd be a lot better at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And both of these teams are struggling right now.
They're erratic. That is for sure. Houston their team sits at good places. 9th in the league in offense, 13th in the league in defense, 11th in the league in passing, and 13th in the league in rushing. So it's like I'm confused. I'm confused where the Texans stand. I mean, I don't know if it's all on the shoulders of Deshaun. I don't know if
I will say their offensive line is not the best.
Right. And so,
and right now I know he's playing with a broken rib.
I just think that I want to look at their previous games because I feel like when it comes to teams with strong defenses, they don't play as well.
They're actually on a 3-game winning streak. They lost their first 3 games, and now they've been on a 3-game winning streak.
Okay, right. So, yeah, so they lost to the Titans in a close one, to the Patriots in a close one, lost to the Giants in a close one, barely beat the Colts.
All their games have been pretty close.
They beat the Cowboys. See, this is where I get confused. How do you lose to the Giants but then beat the Cowboys?
That was a good game.
Which
one? I mean they just pulled that one out against the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's a confusing league, man. Barely beat the Bills. So this is a toss. If there was any game that was a complete toss up for me, this would be the game because I don't know how the Texans are gonna play, and I damn sure don't know how the Jaguars are gonna play because
both sitting at 3-3.
The Jags can go from letting the Titans score 9 points on them to letting the Cowboys score 40 on them. I don't know. I don't know where their defense sits.
The craziest thing was that they had only given up 1 touchdown in the first quarter before that Cowboys game.
And how many did they let up in the first quarter?
They gave up 2.
Yeah, it's...
Actually, I think it might have been first half, actually. It was something ridiculous.
More impressive.
That might not be true. Don't quote me on that, but I know it was something crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're an interesting team, that's for sure. I mean, these are both interesting teams. It's an interesting matchup.
I feel like for the Texans, it's all how their defense plays. And for Jacksonville, it's all how the offense plays. I feel like whoever wins that matchup will end up winning the game. If the Texans can get the Jacksonville offense off the field and just keep giving the ball to their offense, I think their offense will find a way to score enough points, especially with Jalen Ramsey being kind of injured and then Houston having so many weapons on offense. Even with a weak O-line, they still got Will Fuller, Kiki Cootie or something like that. Chris Cootie or something like I don't know how to say his name. And then they got the man that I don't know, the best player on the offense. I don't know why I'm not saying his name right now. I can't think of it.
For who?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh,
arguably one of the best receivers in the league. He's having a great year this year. The reason why they actually beat the Cowboys, the double spin move he was doing down the field. But yeah, in my opinion, I see the Houston being able to get this dub. And because especially, actually this is at Jacksonville.
I see Jacksonville pulling it out.
I see Houston. I still give it to Houston only because Jalen Ramsey is kind of hurt, and that will not help him going up against DeAndre Hopkins, especially because it's his knee that is the sore thing.
Well, hopefully Deshaun isn't destroyed by the end of the day. We'll see how it goes.
I like the matchup though. I'm gonna be tuning in. So next, we have New England versus Baltimore.
New England versus Baltimore?
No, New Orleans versus
New
Baltimore.
England playing 2 games this week. That'd be wild.
New Orleans versus Baltimore.
New Orleans versus Baltimore.
Baltimore has the number 1 defense.
Baltimore has the number 1 defense. They have the number 1 defense.
Yes.
Wow. And they're 7th in offense, 8th in passing, 19th in rushing. It's very interesting. The Baltimore Ravens have flown under the radar for me. They shut out their last opponent, right? It was 21-0 against the Titans.
Yes.
Titans.
That was a very bad game for Marcus Mariota. He could not do anything because he was just constantly getting hit.
Sheesh. And who are their greatest pass rushers? Who?
They still got Terrell Suggs, man. That man doesn't age.
Sheesh. Okay, yeah. I mean, number 1 defense, man. That's going to be interesting because, I mean, like I said, we got this high-paced, Saints offense coming in with Drew Brees being, whipping the thing around and just their offense doing kind of whatever they want. I mean, it should be interesting to see what the Ravens can do and whether the Ravens can stop them. Historically, better defenses beat better offenses. So, I mean, the key factor in this game is, I guess, how the Saints' defense plays. Because we know the Ravens are going to show up, but will the Saints' defense show up and keep this a low of a scoring game as the Baltimore Ravens defense will, right?
Yeah. I think you always got a chance playing against the Ravens when they have Joe Flacco at quarterback. I've never been a big Joe Flacco fan. The only reason he has a championship is because his defense. He's actually been playing pretty well this season, even though I don't like to admit it. He has weapons now. Michael Crabtree balled out last game for him. John Brown's been having a good season. He also got Willie Snead. They have 2 running backs, and Alex Collins, and I forget the other one's name at the moment. But yeah, their offense is kind of rolling right now. And then with the number 1 defense, they have been flying under the radar as far as being a very talked about team in NFL. I definitely see them being a playoff team and maybe even winning division against the Steelers. But
It's possible.
I'm going to have to give it up to the Saints in this game. Even though it's at Baltimore, I'm going with the road team again. I think that offense is going to be too much. I don't think Baltimore has seen an offense like that yet in their season. Even though they did play the Steelers, which I would say would probably have the closest offense, offensive power. But I still think the Saints will just have too much offense that their defense won't be able to hold them to a low enough score for their offense to outscore them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't get on board with the Ravens. I mean, the only win that they had that was impressive to me was against the Steelers, I guess. I mean, and even back in that time, back that week, I wouldn't even have considered that a considerable win, a win that meant something to me. Because, I mean, they beat the Bills, they beat the Broncos, they lost to the Browns, they beat the Titans. I mean, none of their wins impressed me. And Joe Flacco has never impressed me, really. I mean, Joe Flacco is just about as average as his name. His stats. His stats always fall in this arena. He has 62% completion. Above average, good. 1,788 yards at this point in the season. Okay, good. Not great. He'll probably end up with, 37 to 4,000 at the end of the season. 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's a good quarterback. He has 87.1 rating. But that's where he sits. He sits in that good area. And if he has a team around him, yes, his team can be great. But I don't see The defense is number one. I don't really understand how, because the Bengals put up 34 on them. I guess they held. I guess they held a decent amount of people to low points, but like I don't know. They got to prove something to me. I need to watch the game. I need to have them prove something to me because this will be a game that will prove something. Because if they can stop the Saints' offense and Joe Flacco can have a great game, then I think they can win. So I'll say that the Ravens will show me something and they'll win. So we'll do that. Sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to cook you like that.
So I guess we'll go to the Kansas City Chiefs versus Cincinnati. Kansas City getting another Sunday night game, 2 in a row.
That's an interesting game.
I personally just think that Kansas City offense is just too much for damn near any team.
It's too much.
And especially a team that can never beat the Steelers, who always have a potent offense. I think it's just going to be the same type of thing.
Right.
That they're just going to get outscored.
I mean, I agree. We've seen it firsthand, right? The mental breakdown on defense that they had. You can't have mental breakdowns against Kansas City. You have to be on your toes. You have to have, even with the best game plan and even being in the right position, athletes can be athletes and out-athlete you. And they have the most athletes on an offense in the league by far. So, I mean, if you're having mental breakdowns on defense in the past game or in the last game against the Steelers, I mean, I don't see how you have any chance against Kansas City. That's just my take on it.
And I guess lastly, we'll wrap this up with the Monday Nighter. The Giants versus the Falcons.
You know what it is, man. That's easy dubs. Easy dubs. So it's funny on this podcast, like I've been so big on the Giants and now, wanting them to be good, but now they can suck all they want. I don't care how much they suck this game, but I mean, I do have Saquon on my fantasy team, but I think it's gonna be closer than I would hope it to be. It's gonna be closer. Our defense is trash, and so their athletes are going to shine this week. So like I'm a little nervous about that. It's gonna be a fun Monday nighter for you, offensive purists, you football fans that love high scoring games. I mean, I think it's going to be a high scoring game, and I hope we pull it out. Knowing my Falcons, there's a chance we won't pull it out. So it should be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think it's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. It's going to be a battle of terrible defenses. And I'm excited to watch to see what happens. I don't really have a prediction for this. I'm just excited to see all the points being scored. I think Julio Jones will actually finally score his first touchdown of the season. He's been balling out, like having 100-yard games, but he just hasn't gotten the end zone yet. I think this will finally be that week.
It's the weirdest thing.
And I think Odell will have a big week. I think receivers are just gonna ball out this game. Like it's just gonna be. I think this will be the first time Eli Manning will have time in the pocket. I'm just very excited to see this game just because the offense. I know the offense is not going to be rare this game. Finally, it's going to be one of those games that anybody can enjoy, not just the football fan who sometimes likes to see the defensive battle. This will be the exact opposite. Well, if that's all we got, I guess we need to wrap this up.
Don't get popped.